meeting to order. We need to make a motion to allow Betty to participate on the phone. Sharon and Dan, all those in favor to allow Betty to come in phone, signify by saying aye. Name oppose. And we will start off with clerk's report. Rachel.
Good afternoon. You all have the report that was in your packet. I have nothing new to add to it, but if you wonder on page 2 where it talks about the, or it shows you the total number of recordings and the vital records, that is not an error. They were equal, which is very rare that we had the same number of recordings as we had for vital records that came in. So just in case you're wondering why we put that number down twice, it's because it was a coincidence that they are equal. But other than that, I have nothing new to add.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Any questions?
Yeah, Matt, this is Betty.
Yeah.
I'd like to find out if any of the departments have a, did you know anything that we could like to know differently about their department?
It's not different, but it's a reminder that, well, people may not know that our department now is in charge of the War Memorial bricks out at the Veterans site outside here at the courthouse. We still have some bricks available. There's 2 different sizes. One's $150 for the 4x8, and then the 12x12 is $500, where you can get something engraved on there, a message for your loved one, or something commemorative for a vet that you'd like to recognize. We still have space available if anyone's interested, or if you want to send anyone to our department to fill out the form, we can take care of them.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Let's go next is Elizabeth with the election.
Hello, thank you. I don't have much to report this month. This is our not so busy time in the election office. We're just preparing for the storm that is to come. We are starting up our election judge open houses again in June and July. So if you or someone you know is interested in serving as an election judge, please have them reach out to our office. And I do say you, if you are a county board member but you're not on the ballot this election, you can serve as an election judge. We are working with local radio and TV stations to create public service announcements leading up to the election, just to try to educate the electorate regarding specific dates and things that are available to them with respect to voting. And Betty has actually, with her Did You Know, we're creating a Did You Know campaign to help educate the public about a lot of different topics that go on in elections that people aren't aware of. So with that, I'd like to start with the Did You Know for today. So I want to talk about public tests. So prior to each election, before any ballots are issued, the Election Commission is required to complete what's called a public test. It is in accordance with the Illinois statute. It says prior to each election, a public test must be conducted to ensure the voting equipment and automatic tabulation apparatus used in the county will accurately count the votes cast for offices and referendum. So essentially, it's just a way for us to ensure that the tabulation software is counting the votes the way it's intended to count. And this is done through creating what's called a test deck. So this is our one of probably 30 pages from our test deck from the November general election. We have the contests and candidates listed on the left, and then above the top, we've got different ballot styles. So you can see every candidate is receiving 1 vote from our test deck. During this is a public, it's called the public test for a reason. It's open to the public. Both parties are notified of this. We encourage party representatives to complete the test duck, actually. It is open to the public, and we invite media to come in and view this as well. So if you are ever curious about how this works, I would encourage you to come and be a part of it for the general election. But we do simulate both types of voting during our public test. So we simulate in-person voting by completing paper ballots that would then be scanned through the Verity Scan voting equipment, simulating a polling place environment. And then we simulate voting by mail. So we're completing paper ballots and then scanning them through our Verity Central software to simulate a returned vote by mail ballot. And when we tabulate these, each candidate or question should be receiving 2 votes. So we've got one from the vote by mail, one from the in-person. And if those results don't come out the way they should, then we can go back to that paper ballot and compare it to the test duck to see where the error occurred. On election night, before any tabulation of official results occurs, we have to rerun the public test to ensure that the tabulation software is still counting the way it's intended to. After all official tabulation is concluded on election night, the public test has to be rerun to ensure that the software is still counting the way it's intended to. So hopefully this was a good did you know topic. I've got so many to share with you over the next few months, but did you have any questions for me about this? Yes, Sharon.
Sharon.
So every election commission in the state of Illinois is required to do this?
Every election jurisdiction, yes. Mm-hmm.
Were these all Betty's questions?
No, no, these were.
No. They were very good answers, though. I know.
All right. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, Dave.
Okay, what we've been doing, obviously once the tax bills go out, we were pretty busy that first 2 weeks. We were really busy with phone calls. Believe it or not as busy as I expected. I expected actually more calls regarding the increase in tax bill amounts, but we have got a lot, but not as many as we anticipated. Usually we go through about a week or two of a little slower, and then as it gets closer to the June 4th deadline, we'll get an uptick in calls again. Most of them are regarding either addressing or missed exemptions, something along that line is what we typically deal with. We've actually moved on in our office for 2024, payable 2025. Those need to be completed sometime in July. We try to get all that information from the townships to get that information completed. So we're working on that information right now. I guess did you know is, I know you know that because I did a presentation on the tax cycle, that we work closely with the treasurer's office and the county clerk's office, but other departments that we work closely with in the county is Peoria County Planning and Zoning. We gather all permits from them and different municipalities that do their own. And as Mike may mention, we do a lot of work with the Veterans Administration now, especially regarding disabled veterans exemptions. We've got quite a few of those, so we work closely with that office also. If anybody's got any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Do all counties, are they all due at the same time, do you know, or is that different throughout the state?
No, it's different throughout the state. Sometimes it's due on population. So some counties can be done a little bit earlier. There's no specific deadline other than townships are supposed to have their information turned into us by June 15th. We typically give them till July 1st to get all their information turned in so that we can turn that around. The main thing is just to make sure that the tax bills go out on time, is that we're done on time. But I think smaller jurisdictions can get done a little bit earlier. We have to give at least until September 10th to file for board review complaints, or 30 days after we publish in the newspaper. So some can do it a little bit earlier than that.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Let's go treasurer Nicole.
Good afternoon. Mine's gonna be real short. We've just been collecting taxes like crazy. Still got an influx of people in the office. I was hoping with the new payment methods that we have that would die down a little bit. Apparently, it's kind of died down at the banks, but not at the courthouse. So, but the online payment methods are working. The electronic checks are like crazy. Even with the convenience fee for the credit cards, we're still getting a lot of those. In regards to your question to Dave, we just went to IACO conference, and in our Treasurers Association, I would say probably at least 50% of the treasurers have not issued their bills yet. So we were one of the very first ones to do that. We just had there was a treasurer there who had just had his tax sale. Ours was back in November. So they're kind of all over the board, either in the assessor's office, in the clerk's, or fortunately for us, we've already issued our bills, so they're kind of all over.
Is there a benefit to being earlier or later? Does it really matter?
It's better for us because it coincides with our fiscal year, and the taxing districts know when they're going to get their money. I send out a calendar every year so that they know exactly when they're getting their distributions and they can plan accordingly. But then it goes along with their budget cycle too. When you're late, then they're not getting their money on time. And so that hurts the districts.
Okay. Anybody else?
And my did you know is the due date is June 4th. So if you haven't paid, it's right around the corner. So please don't be late.
Okay. Thank you. Did you have something, Betty?
No, hey, I'm really appreciating all the did you know and the good information, the updates are really great. Yeah.
Okay, last would be Mike.
Good afternoon again. Obviously, we moved into the new place. It's gone amazing. It's been crazy, of course, trying to get everything up. I did talk to Trish right before we came. We've been trying to figure out when we were going to do the open house. So we have settled on June 21st from 11 to 2 p.m. I will send out an invite to everybody. We literally just decided that before I came here so I could tell you guys. For updates for the office, we brought in 39.8 million so far for total money, 6.8 new money or lump sum money. Both are going to shatter last year's numbers. Give you an idea of the lump sum money that we brought in just in last month alone, or this month alone in May. We had back pays of 58, a little over 58,000, 42,000, 40,000, 37,000, 36,000, 35,000, all lump sum payments to veterans in this month. So it's been a big month. Walk-in Wednesday is going to return in July, and that's going to be July 17th. That's when veterans can walk in and get any questions. There's going to be a lot more to come with the new conference room. We're going to be doing trainings for veterans, like PACDAC, Agent Orange training. So I'm going to put those together. We'll have PowerPoint presentations where we're going to invite veterans to come into our office, and we're going to do presentations on specific disabilities and wartime eras. So once I get that information, I will get that out to you. That is all I have.
That's good.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, Matt, I have a
Yep.
question back to Mike. I didn't hear the first part he mentioned. What was that again, Mike?
For the open house,
Oh, you said something prior to the open house, or maybe that was it.
No, that was
You're
it.
Speaking of your open house.
open house will be June 21st from 11 to 2. That's tentative right now. The times may change a little.
Okay. All right. And then I do have one other question to Mike in regards to, again, the veterans. And as we see the memorial, you know, speaking on in terms of the past wars that have happened, our veterans who have gone to war and come back, mental health. And maybe it's too soon to even talk about that. are you seeing again a flux in that because of the reminder, or is that always there, or what?
We've seen a
Or is
huge
it
increase with younger veterans. Well, now the older veterans, when they retire, we see a huge increase of mental health because they retire. A lot of veterans just came home, went to work, and then when they retire, a lot of the nightmares came back after they retired because they had a lot more time on their hands.
Ah,
The younger vets, they just know
mm-hmm,
there's a lot more access to information now, especially with the PACT Act. So the younger veterans are tuned in a lot more. I say younger, but the 40s, 50s, and younger, they just have so much more access than the other eras have. So the other generations are a little older, a little more stubborn too. So we have to just tell them that, you're not the only one. And when they come in, we just have to, sometimes veterans say, well, somebody else deserves it more. And that I hate when people say that because there's no selection board. Nobody else, no one veteran is more important than the other. So once we
yes.
explain that to them, that there's not a selection board, you're not taking away benefits from anybody else. We usually can convince them to get what they deserve.
Mm-hmm. Good. Thank you.
And thank you.
All right, thank you. Need a motion. Can we do these all as one, or is this two? The motion for the monthly delinquent taxes. Sharon, second. Terry. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Is there, motion passes. Is there any public comment? All right, meeting is adjourned.